hello to my loyal listeners who have been tuning in every week for a reading of each chapter from my book, this one right here, Turn Your Magic All the Way Up, A Ridiculous Guide to Discovering Yourself After Narcissistic Abuse. Little book, long title. Please comment below if you would like a signed copy. I will send you my Venmo and you can pay me directly because I don't want to give Amazon any more money. So, this book was also written with a Spotify playlist because I feel it's important that music be included in books. I personally would like to know what the authors were listening to when they were writing, to know how they were feeling. So I thought I would include that in these books. So the Spotify playlist link will be in the description below. This is chapter 17 called Self-esteem and Self-care. And after this, we only have 2 more chapters left. So tune in. Ready? Here we go. Song One of Them Girls by Lee Brice. I was always a chubby kid growing up. I wasn't like fat, but that's how I saw myself. Riding horses, I was always aware of my weight, especially when in barrel racing competition where it was all about how fast you were. Every extra pound will slow a horse down. I battled my weight throughout my life. I was a runner for a while, kinda. I would get up and jog in the mornings, and I did enjoy running 5Ks on the weekends. I didn't place very well, but I ran them. I was never a gym person. I'm still not a gym person. I really hate working out, but running took care of everything all at once, so I was good with that, even though it meant getting up early. Ugh. I just like the taste of food. I enjoy eating, and I even based my retirement dream on getting an RV and hitting the road to travel to every tiny county fair that I could to try whatever terrible food they had to offer. Sidebar, that little retirement dream has changed considerably because I've lived in an RV since then, and yeah, I'd rather not do that again. I was active because I was always around horses, but I was a yo-yo dieter who fought her weight and therefore her self-esteem her whole life. I tried nearly every diet out there. Slim Fast, Lean Cuisine, Weight Watchers, HCG injections, low carb, etc. Low carb is what worked best for me for the longest amount of time. I was strictly low carb for about 5 years. I became an excellent low-carb cook and baker, but I often fell off the wagon because truly the most addictive drug out there is sugar. After falling off the low-carb wagon, I hit my highest weight of 280 pounds. Now, no, I was going to say I'm 5'10", but I say that later in the book, so I'll shut up. I did a ton of research. Of course I did. Before deciding that I needed stomach reduction / sleeve surgery, before my weight got so out of hand that I would also need skin surgery too. I am 5'10" and currently at my goal weight of 150 pounds. Apparently, I was when I wrote this. I am now at my goal weight of 160 pounds. I had sleeve surgery in Tijuana, Mexico in 2017. My boobs immediately deflated because that's always the first to go with weight loss. In 2020, I was able to get breast surgery to put them back where they should be, to a respectable C cup. I share all of this to take the shame out of surgery to help your self-esteem. Sidebar, you can go too far with plastic surgery, but I think I might cover that later on. Try to keep it to a dull roar. I wanted to look in the mirror and see the person that I saw in my head. And I worked hard and spent a lot of money to get there. By trying every fucking avenue of weight loss I could for decades, weight fluctuating back and forth, I knew I had done everything I could and surgery was the best option. Same with the boob job. The weight loss had deflated my poor ladies and they looked sad. I couldn't not be sad looking at them, so I fixed that. Song Human by Christina Perry. I think we all deserve to treat ourselves this way. We live in our bodies and have to see it reflected in the mirror every day. We should not only be happy with what we hear in our heads, we should appreciate the bodies we were given and do the best we can to take care of them. If you find someone who doesn't take pride in caring for their body or shies away from showers, red flag, there's a problem there. The narcissist I dated had problems with bathing in showers. Take care of yourself. You must. It's mandatory. It's an absolute requirement. I mentioned earlier that I need a shower every day. My soul feels overwhelmed if I don't wash off the day. It doesn't have to be stomach surgery or a boob job. Self-care can be as simple as a shower. I also highly recommend finding time to meditate each day. Guided meditations are great for me because my mind tends to wander without it. I listen to a 15 to 30 minute guided meditation on YouTube, depending on how much time I have, before I get out of bed each morning, and again before I go to sleep each night. It helps calm my mind and focus more than I ever thought it could. Sidebar, I now can meditate, well, as long as I want to, in complete silence because I did guided meditations for so long. And I listened to I Am affirmations at night, also through YouTube. I got a YouTube subscription so that I wouldn't have to have the ads play. And you just play those overnight so that it's subconscious. And I have to say, I think they work. And they're free if you can afford the subscription or just deal with the ads. So I highly suggest doing that. Again, everything is about realization, about waking up. We need to be awake and in touch with ourselves to ask what we need to make us happy. Ask that little kid inside, hey, how are you today? What would you like to do right now? And don't freak out when you actually hear a voice reply back. I did. It was pretty cool when I heard it, though. There really is an inner child in all of us. It is alive and it's waiting for you to talk to it. Now, I never saw myself as beautiful. I was never the hot one in the group. I was usually the funny sidekick and the plumper one. My parents did tell me that I was pretty when I dressed up, but I looked around at my classmates, already seeing myself as fat, and never felt pretty. I was a tomboy. I had a narcissist dad, so compliments were just non-existent. My mom loved everyone equally, so when I looked at my reflection in a mirror, I didn't see ugly or pretty, I just saw me. I didn't really have any self-esteem because I had made myself small and lessened myself in order to keep my mom, in order to help my mom keep the peace, walking on eggshells around my dad. I never knew what would trigger his explosive anger outbursts, so I always just tried to be silent and good. I tried to blend in and not be noticed. As I've grown up, I've allowed my real self to come out little by little. I wasn't sure who she was until I reached 45 years old. It's amazing that it took this long. I'm hoping this book helps others find themselves sooner than that. I am finally happy, gloriously, wholly, and completely happy. I took small risks when choosing to come out of my introvert shell, like when I relocated to Texas as a freshman in high school and made the conscious decision to be more confident since no one knew me there. Or when I nervously asked my, to this day, BFF to be my partner in aerobics class back in 1995 in college. Or when I figured out I could decorate for Halloween all year long if I wanted to. I have gradually let that inner child out little by little and listened to what she tells me would make her happy. It has in turn made me insanely happy. Each risk was scary. I did have to face my own fears, but it always led me down the path of finding my true self. Take those small steps. You don't realize how important they are until you're looking back on them. Let me repeat that. Take those small steps. You don't realize how important they are until you're looking back on them. That's important, and it's true. It's scary. It is scary, but worth it. And let me tell you something, the more attempts you make at the scary stuff, the braver you become and the easier it gets. In talking to my inner child, I have found my true self that I didn't even know I had kept hidden. Song Breathe Again by Sarah Bareilles. Now, it won't happen overnight, so start now. See life lesson number 3, talk to your inner child daily. In squashing down my emotions in myself, my self-esteem paid the price, and I had none for a very long time. I always looked to my father for my validation and then to my partners for it as well. I don't know why it took me so long to realize that, as my mom told me, just because he's your father doesn't mean he's always right. My dad is a narcissist and has totally different values, different opinions on success, different desires for life. So why on earth was I constantly looking to him for approval to be my judge and jury on if I was good enough? My dad had raised me in what Lisa A. Romano describes as a life of lack, quote unquote. My dad pinched the fuck out of his pennies. Still does. We didn't deserve nice things. They were too expensive. So the message to me as a kid came through as, you're not worth it. I was raised to believe we were poor, even though we weren't, that I should suffer, and I should feel bad for ever asking for anything. This developed into that toxic independence thing where I never trusted anyone or looked to anyone for help. Anyone feel me on this? My father was raised in fear and lives his life run by fear to this day. His way of getting narcissistic supply is to be a catastrophizer and constantly worry about what might happen and just not take any risks. He gets his validation by causing anxiety in others, getting them as worked up as he is. My dad loves taking controlled risks like bungee jumping and skydiving, however. And I find that interesting because as a control freak narcissist, I believe that is the only way that he can ever really relax and let go, is in a controlled a way as possible. Everything else makes him feel too vulnerable, too exposed, and he just can't allow that. Side note, I recommend the movie Donnie Darko. Again, in a full circle moment, I always loved that movie, even when it confused me. I had to get online to figure out the true meaning. There's a website out there that explains it. It's deep, but they reference briefly living life on a spectrum of love and fear. And I don't feel that that's too far from the truth, to be honest. The work on yourself doesn't stop. I think it just gets easier. To this day, I find myself seeking my father's approval and validation, though I'm getting way better at just validating myself instead. I took my dad to my workplace, where I knew the owner would have kind things to say about me, and sure enough, they did. I asked my dad on the car ride home what he had to say about what he had heard about me, if he was proud of the good person my boss thought I was. His answer was simply, well, of course, I already knew that. Sigh. While that is a compliment, it just always feels like the bare minimum with him. There is still work for me to do, but I am so much better now at reaching inside of myself for that ego boost I need in instances like this. I do finally see everything I have to offer. I do finally see that I truly am a good person. I am all the enoughs. I always was. And so are you, friend. All my life, I avoided looking into myself or spoiling myself or giving more attention to myself because I believed that to do so would be selfish, egotistical, and the worst, narcissistic. This is so far from the truth. I don't know where I got that from other than the loss of self from a narcissistic parent. Combine this with my codependent need to focus on others, and I completely sacrificed myself, my needs, and lost who I was. I thought I was me, but I was only what I had been trained to be. Side note, you can't fill anyone else's cup if your cup is empty. Fill your cup first. That's not selfish. That's not narcissistic. You have to have a full cup before you can fill others. Okay? Remember that. This ties in with my feeling of living a life of almosts. The universe kept giving me a taste of what was out there, not to tease me with what I couldn't have, but to show me that I could be the lead role in my own story. I had too much to offer to ride the coattails of some guy. I have too much to offer to just experience life through other people's accomplishments, hobbies, and goals. I have my own. And so do you. Be your own spotlight and turn your magic all the way up. That is the end of chapter 17. Chapter 18 is a recap of life lessons. So that'll be a little short, but I think I'm going to ad-lib on that one. So Lord only knows where that one's going to go. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. It helps. And I'll see you next week. Bye.